are blessed today. Good morning, my friends. Good morning. And thank you for that music. And you're in for some more treats musically this morning as well with our women's choir. I wanted to especially celebrate this morning because all across the country, this Sunday, this weekend, UUs are gathering for the sake of something wonderful, our Mother Earth. For this is the time of the UU Climate Justice Revival. And so in honor of this special time, as we prepare to light our chalice, I'd like to ask our Liz Jones to share with us what I feel are the velvet-like words of Mary Oliver from her poem, Sleeping in the Forest.
I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts, her pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before, a stone on the riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire of the stars but my thoughts, and they floated light as moths among the branches of the perfect trees. All night, I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who do their work in the darkness. All night, I rose and fell as if in water, grappling with a luminous doom. By morning, I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better. Unitarian Universalist Church of San Diego, where we worship each Sunday in the South Bay, in Hillcrest, and online.
Buenos días y bienvenidos a la primera Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de San Diego, donde adoramos cada domingo en South Bay, en Hillcrest y en línea.
I'm Liz Jones, and I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. A special welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. And we invite you to please fill out the welcome card in your order of service.
Me llamo Tomás Acosta y uso los pronombres él. Una bienvenida muy especial a todos los que están con nosotros por primera vez. Les extendemos la invitación de rellenar el formulario de servicio.
Our community is a vital, diverse, multi-generational congregation without borders, with a mission to create community, nurture spiritual growth, and act on our values to help heal the world.
Somos una congregación compuesta de personas de distintas identidades racializadas y culturas, personas de diversas orientaciones sexuales e identidades de género, personas de varias habilidades mentales y físicas.
We are creators of community and compassion, and though we can fall short, we are committed to practicing an affirming welcome to all.
Con el de reverencia reconocemos que nos juntamos mañana en la tierra de los Kumeyaay, quienes continúan viviendo en todo su territorio. Al emprender este viaje juntos, mantengamos en nuestros corazones y mentes el pueblo Kumeyaay.
In a spirit of reverence, we acknowledge that we gather this morning on the land of the Kumeyaay, who continue to live throughout their territories. May the light of this candle shine for our commitment to the Kumeyaay people and to justice and equity for indigenous peoples everywhere.
Now let's rise in barrier spirit and sing our church hymn. From all who dwell below the skies, let faith and hope will all arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land by every tongue. De todos bajo el gran sol surja esperanza, fe y amor, verdad y belleza cantando de cada tierra, cada voz. May love be the spirit of this church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. Que el amor sea la doctrina de esta iglesia, la búsqueda de la verdad su sacramento y el servicio su oración. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con libertad y ayudarnos mutuamente en comunidad. A eso aspiramos.
We I have a special story hour right now, our time for all ages, or at least our story few minutes. And a lot of our kids right now are actually in South Bay, but I see some young people here, and I'd love to read to you a story. So whoever can come up and hear a story, I invite you please to come on up. If you're young in soul, right here is young in soul, come on up. Come on up, yes! If our board president has come on up, we are a young in soul church with our lead minister. We are young in heart. We are young in heart. So, we have a story that Tony picked out, and I love this story. It is called The Curious Garden, and it's by Peter Brown. And, some more young at heart people, hurrah! So, look at this. There was once a city, you can see it here too on the screen. Do you see that on the screen? Oh my goodness. There is once a city without gardens. There was once a city without gardens. God, that doesn't look like a fun city to me. Does it look fun to you? Oh, it looks polluted. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. There were no trees. There was no greenery. There was lots of pollution, like you said. And many, many people, because of that, spent their days indoors. That's really sad. As you can imagine, it was a really, really dreary place. However, there was one boy who loved being outside. Do you love being outside? I do too, because we are in San Diego. It's fun to be outside. Even on drizzly days, while everyone else stayed inside, you could always find Liam happily splashing through his neighborhood. It was on one such morning that Liam made several surprising discoveries. He was wandering around that old railway that looks kind of scary to me, as he did from time to time, because little boys sometimes like to wander. All children sometimes do. And he stumbled upon a dark stairway. The railway had stopped working years ago. And since Liam has always wanted to explore the tracks, there was only one thing for the curious boy to do. What do you think it is? Explore, exactly. You know this story already, don't you? No, okay, you're just really smart. You're all really smart. Liam ran up the stairs, pushed open the door, and stepped out across the railway. Here, you can see too. The first thing he saw was a lonely patch of color. A lonely patch of color he saw. Wildflowers and plants were the last things he had expected to find up there. But when he took a closer look, it became clear that those plants were dying. They needed a gardener. Liam may not have been a gardener, but he knew that he could help. So he returned to the railway, and the very next day he got to work. The flowers nearly drowned, and he had a few pruning problems, but the plants patiently waited while Liam found better ways of gardening. As the weeks rolled by, Liam began to feel like a real gardener. And the plants began to feel like a real garden. Amazing. That's what love can do. Most gardens stay in one place, but this was no ordinary garden with miles of open railway ahead of it. The garden was growing restless. It wanted to explore. The garden wanted to explore. The tough little weeds and mosses were the first to move. They popped up further and further down the tracks and were closely followed by more delicate plants. Over the next few months, Liam and the curious garden explored every corner of the railway. I like blanket too. After spending his spring and, did I miss something? Oh, good. After spending his spring and summer and autumn with the garden, Liam's time on the railway was finally interrupted by winter, because he must have lived in a wintry place, because heavy blankets of snow fell on the city that season. And for the first time since he'd become a gardener, Liam could not visit his plants. Because why? They were covered with snow. Yes. And unfortunately, winter does that. And winter had taken a toll on the garden. But, I missed something. I did miss something. Rather than wasting his winter worrying about the garden, he spent it preparing for spring. And after 3 cold months, the snow finally began to melt. And Liam rolled his new gardening gear over to the railway. Winter had taken a toll on the garden, but thanks to Liam's planning, his handy new tools, and a little help from the sun, the plants soon awoke from their winter sleep. The garden had always wanted to explore the rest of the city. The garden wanted to explore. Not just people explore, gardens explore too. It's amazing. And that spring, it was finally ready to make its move. Once again, the tough little weeds and mosses set out first. They popped up further and further from the railway and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. The garden was especially curious about old, forgotten things, like that old car. A few plants popped up where they didn't belong. Others mysteriously popped up all at once. But the most surprising thing that popped up were the new gardeners. Isn't that beautiful? Do you see how pretty it became? Wow, this is what people can do. Many years later, the entire city had blossomed. But of all the new gardens, Liam had a favorite. His favorite was where it all began. And let's look at that last slide right there at the very bottom. That's what human hands could do. Big and small, all hands can make beauty for this world. Thank you, everybody. Did you like the story? Yeah, I did too. Thank you.
All right, and now will you help me say our affirmation with the congregation, first in English and then in Spanish? We are Unitarian Universalists, a people of open minds, loving hearts, and welcoming hands. Somos unitarios, universalistas, personas de mentes abiertas, corazones amorosos y manos que dan la bienvenida. So we are going to go with Laura up to the room 113 in just a moment, but first Caroline Clark is going to come forward and make a special presentation, and then I will join you with Laura. Just a moment.
That's fine. I'm Caroline Clark, and this is Amy Stanko. And this morning, I have the great pleasure of inducting the Reverend Justine Sullivan into the Women of the Cloth by Reverend. This is a group created to honor UU ministers and created by Reverend Carolyn Owen Toll to honor UU women ministers. Their signatures were written on a cloth, and women from First UU did the embroidery. Reverend Carolyn Owen Toll invited Reverend Omega and Reverend Justine to be a part of Women of the Cloth, and their signatures were captured on white handkerchiefs and then embroidered. Since the actual cloth is in Boston, Reverend Omega and Reverend Justine are keeping their pieces of the cloth. Reverend Omega was given hers just before she moved on to her own church. And now it's Reverend Justine's turn. No, she's not moving away from here yet. So without further ado, Reverend Justine, it's my honor to present you with this piece of the cloth.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So you can open it or whatever you like. Yes, it's on the back. There you go.
I'm a ripper.
It's just fine.
Wow, it's framed and everything.
Yes. But it's got the wrong hanger. You'll have to sort that one.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
And the bag's hers too.
And the back's
Yes.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much.
My real pleasure. Thank you.
A nice historic moment for our church. And as our kids go to RE, I have a few announcements to make. First of all, as many of you know, lay ministers are available after our services on this patio right back there every Sunday. If you have a joy or sorrow or anything that you'd like to share, they are here to offer a listening presence. This morning's lay minister is Mary Ann Harper. Mary Ann, can you raise your hand? Ah, there you are over there. Thank you, Mary Ann. Beautiful soul. Today, just after services, will be a You the Vote postcarding party. Woohoo! So join us in Bard Hall for fun, collaboration, and community building as we write postcards to remind voters about the importance of their voices. Help us to crush the goal of 4,000 postcards. I think we can do that. We've already gotten a head start. And materials and refreshments will be provided. Just bring your enthusiasm, which I think you already have. Do you have it? Woo! Wonderful. So, save the date for one more thing. We're going to have a day of healing coming up, which will be a morning of spiritual workshops and activities for all ages. This will be on October 12th, and there is a handy-dandy flyer inside of your order of service to learn more. And you can register as well by using the QR code on this little flyer. And now I'd like to invite our Liz Jones back up for a generosity offering.
It is our policy that the Sunday morning generosity offerings go to organizations outside of this congregation that share our values. The generosity offerings on the 5th Sundays of each of those months that have them go to our partner churches. This Sunday, the offering will go to our partner congregation in the Philippines. The Philippines, along with all island nations, are facing imminent threat due to climate change. Our partner congregation is located in a rural farming village. Over these past years, they have faced combinations of droughts as well as typhoons that have brought high winds and excessive rains. They have faced crop losses and even extensive damage to their homes. The funds we collect are sent to the families in Malingan so that they can buy uniforms, school supplies, and other necessary items for their children to attend elementary and high school. Completing school helps these children, their families, and the whole community. Your generosity this morning is greatly appreciated by them. You may donate this morning here in person by credit card using the dip jars, or by cash or check using the donation boxes. If you'd like assistance, please raise your hand. You may also donate online at our church's website, firstuusandiego.org. Thank you for your generosity. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received.
You so much for your generosity for our siblings in the Philippines. It means a great deal to us and to them. My reading today is from a Pawnee Sage Omaha Indian song that I found in this book, which was once owned by Reverend Carolyn Owentel. When I saw this poem, I saw her handwriting that added one last paragraph to it. So I'll start with the original song, the original words, and then I'll let you know what Caroline added. Remember the circle of sky, the stars and the brown eagle, the supernatural winds, breathing night and day from all four directions. Remember the great life of the sun breathing on our earth. It lies upon the earth to bring out life upon the earth, life covering earth. Remember the sacredness of things, running streams and dwellings, the young within the nest, a hearth for sacred fire, the holy flame of fire. And this is what she added. Remember the animals and plants that gave their lives that you might live, the goodness of a shared meal, the warmth of love, and another blessed day of life. Remember. I'd like to personally welcome you for some time into our collective sacred garden. Our sacred garden called Mother Earth. You can travel the cosmos for hundreds or thousands of years, perhaps forever, and never find an oasis such as ours. Blue, green, alive, beckoning to souls like ours to come down and stay a while. Such a beautiful world is this. Just now, I look outside. I see our beloved tree. A tree so green, so strong, so poetic, that it's brought meaning to generations of lives here at this church. What a beautiful world this is, our earth garden. As I stand here admiring our beautiful tree, I think about its roots. However deep they are, I'll never know how deep those roots are. And I think about an invisible force that is somehow pulling up water through that trunk and into those leaves, nourishing the entire tree. And I recall the most magical part of it all. Over 90% of the water that the roots bring up from the depths of the earth through that trunk, out those leaves, 90% of that water is breathed back out into the air. And that's why oftentimes when you sit under a tree, it feels cooler, because the trees are breathing out not just oxygen, they're breathing out water. Amazing to me. I didn't know this. I didn't know this until I was in my 40s. But magic. They breathe out water. And that's why when you have many, many, many trees, you're liable to have a rainforest. Exactly. And when you cut that same rainforest down, you are suddenly left with nothing but desert. Perhaps that's why there is a wise Native American proverb that says, when the last tree has been cut, the last fish caught, the last river poisoned, only then can we realize that we can't eat money. Just recently, I was given the honor of being named vice chair of UU Ministry for the Earth. And part of this is because I've spent much of my adult life serving and leading human rights campaigns across the world, at the World Bank, at the United Nations, in several African countries, India, elsewhere, to advocate for people's basic human rights to food, to water, and other basic human needs. Later, I helped to found and I spearheaded a charity in India that worked directly to help millions of people gain access to clean and healthy water. And this remains such an important part of my ministry, moving forward. For without water, without nature, and with the ever-increasing burdens of greed, expansion, and development, much of our world can, in no uncertain terms, my friends, someday can become, in places, uninhabitable for most people and most animals. By the time that happens, and we're already seeing bits and bobs of it happening so sadly already, it will be too late. But I know from what I've seen that hope remains. Hope, in fact, beckons to us, in fact, for humanity caused the problem. And you know, if humanity caused a problem, humanity can do what? Fix it. Thank you. Amen to that. If we put our brilliant minds, hearts, and hands together, humanity absolutely can fix it. For we as a species can be rather brilliant, don't you think? Okay, stupid too. But we got some smarts in us still. Because we have been able to uncover the great secrets of the universe. We have been brilliant enough to decode our own DNA in about a decade. We have been brilliant enough to create a vaccine for a pandemic that threatened just a few years ago to take all of our lives. Brilliant enough to almost eradicate polio from this world and to send scientists right now into outer space. Don't tell me with that kind of brilliance that we are doomed. Don't tell me that. So we know we are hearing bad environmental news every day, from the polluted Tijuana River that's making some of us sick from its smell, to the terrible damage caused just this week by the hurricane. But then, in the darkness of it all, arise stories of hope that I have seen with my own eyes, and now I'd like to share with you, so you can see it with your own eyes and share it with your own voice. Because it makes me realize that more strongly than ever before, we can make change in this world. Can you kindly show me the next slide? Yeah. So this is China's Loess Plateau. Once it was absolutely lush and beautiful. Mountain land. It was used for grazing and farming, but bad grazing and farming practices and climate change made this happen. People made this happen. And with no trees or plants to properly hoe down the soil, natural plants that belong there to hold down that soil, rains would come and it would flood that land. Nothing would hold that rain back, and the soil, that precious topsoil, would go directly into the river, raise the height of the river, and flood all the homes downstream, causing horrific flooding, loss of property, loss of life. Horrible. Now, you ready for the good part? Yeah, I hate just making bad news. So let's go to the good part. Show me the next slide. Yeah, this is a good part. This is the same place. This is the same place. So take a look, take it into your heart. This is the exact same plateau that you saw today. Amazing. Amazing, isn't it? It's pretty amazing. Yeah, even Paul agrees with me. This is amazing stuff. Now, how did it happen? It happened through the power of humanity, but no expensive machines were needed. No future technology, no futuristic technology was developed for this. People simply said, enough is enough. People simply said, we can do better than this. And so they did. And so they planned. And so they got some grant money. And so they terraced the hills as a people. People come together. The people come together. They planted trees. They planted deep-rooted natural grasses and other native plants whose roots together wove together to form a web that held the soil down when it rained. And so native animals and birds returned on their own, fertilizing and further seeding that ground. And so in just about a decade, not a forever, about a decade, this is what you see. And because of that plant life, because of the water emitted by that plant life into the sky, the air around it became cooler and rain started to fall once more. And because that rain fell into the ground and came back as natural springs, it became streams which became rivers, where before there had been only dead rivers left. The rivers flowed again. And so, my friends, and so, humanity won. And so humanity won. Miracles abound, my friends, for we can make miracles with our own hands. Here's another instance. Can you take a look at that. That's in India, Western India, where farmers were committing suicide because their farms looked like the then. The water had been extracted up from underground, the trees had been cut, water just flowed off that soil, and you were left with nothing but sorrow. Now look at the now side. I'm sure you're looking at it already. People came together and started digging trenches and started digging little water ponds that they had planned out with a nonprofit agency that taught them how to do it. They actually made a competition about it, and the entire state got involved. Just everyday village people, many of them actually did not know how to read. Men, women, children, everybody come together to dig and dig and dig in just 40 days. That digging led to the rainwater being collected naturally, which led to no harvest before and up to 4 harvests a year after. And this work that you see in front of you took a month and a half. Yeah. So yeah, there is hope for our garden, our earth garden. And so, yes, we need not lose this fight. For instances like these abound. These aren't just a few instances, for humanity actually can be brilliant. And this is a large reason why the UUA, on this very day, has motivated hundreds of congregations across the country like ours to celebrate this week's climate change revival. We actually have a very strong climate justice ministry here. And I invite you to join our climate justice team, join its work in whatever way you can, if you'd like. You can reach out to Valeria, our new social justice and membership coordinator. And also look at our Windows newsletter at First Words and in our website, because there's often updates. In fact, there's something right now that you can do online with just a few clicks of your button of your mouse. Take a look at Windows to advocate for a cleaner, greener California. Of course, today after services, you can UU the vote and write postcards for what you believe in. Hand to hand, heart to heart, change can happen. We've seen it happen just now. Let us create that change, if only by planting something, if only by signing an online form, if only joining our climate ministry, because we can, and because our earth garden deserves it. Don't you think? Yeah. May it be so. So divine. We're a couple of minutes late, so I won't keep you much longer. I did want to make one announcement that makes me kind of sad to share. You have all become my family. I've been here now for a little over a year, and I love you all so much. Oh my goodness. I have to go home for back surgery, back to Chicago. Holding it together. I will be going back at the end of October. My last sermon here will be at the end of October, the last weekend of October, with our dearest Reverend Justine, who's been a wonderful mentor to me, and with our wonderful internship committee. I don't know if you know, but we have many members of my internship committee here. If you could just stand up for a second. I love you all so much. Raise your hands at least, raise your hands. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Oh, you mean everything to me. And I'll say more later on, so I can hold it together right now. But just know I love you. And I'd like to leave you today with a few special words from Toni Morrison, who I oh so love. It's not possible, and this is about the climate crisis, it's not possible to constantly hold onto crisis. You have to have the love. You have to have the magic. That is also life. And with that I say, Om, Shalom, Salam, Amen. Go in peace and be peacemakers for our world, dearest friends. my beloved congregation, my beloved friends. Oh, amen.
Friends, I've just been informed that the dip jar apparently wasn't working during part of the generosity offering, but it has been fixed. So if you would like to try again, we please do so. Thanks.